Hello, everybody. Hi. How is everybody doing? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? I hope my microphone and my camera are working well. Just say hello just to make sure that everybody's working fine. Hey, everyone. Great to have you here. How is everybody doing?
Hello.
Great. So, my name is Bruna, and I am a tech recruiter
Hello.
here at VanHack. And a tech talent manager as well. Okay, so I would like to know where you guys are from. Where you guys are located? I'm in Brazil, in case of you don't know yet, but I'm Brazilian. I'm located in São Paulo right now. So I see people from Chile here. Very nice, very cool. And our star speaker today, he's located in Berlin. And it's very nice that he's with us here too at this fine evening for me, maybe morning or afternoon for you. So that's great. Okay, so I would like to know where you. So yeah, so like a lot of people, India, Brazil, Chile, Colombia. Very nice, very nice. So what about?
Hello.
Hi, Salis. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yay, great. So I would like to know who here is looking for a new opportunity. Where you guys are planning to go? I know I noticed somebody here that is almost relocating to Malta. That's pretty cool. And so what do you guys having for a next step on your career? And if you could just share with me a little bit about what is your main specialty. So if you guys are more focused on front end, back end, what are you main stack nowadays? Because we're gonna talk about that at the end of this call. Very nice. Okay, so we have people with different plans here, which is really cool. And of course, we can talk about destinations, Europe, and etc. So SQL, TD, artificial intelligence, backend. Very cool. So yeah, so we're gonna have great insights from Salis today. I'm going to introduce him to you all in a little bit. But first of all, I would like to thank you everybody to be here, and of course, inform that this is our last webinar, right? So we are just finishing our week, and I would like to thank you very much for being here, and I hope you had a great time throughout this week. Okay, so hopefully you had a great time, you learned, and I'm sure that the experience that we gain here would be very important for your career and for your next steps. Great. Okay. So now I would like to introduce you to our speaker today, Salis, which is here from directly from Berlin, and he will share a little bit about his experience and tips and everything that you can add with us, Salis, today. That would be amazing. Okay. So you have the word, my friend.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bruna. Um, Very happy to be here. And yeah, I see lots of people have actually have the right kind of skill set. And I mean, if you're really interested in Europe, then I think from what I'm seeing in the chat, this is yeah, this is amazing. So I want to talk about, or I want to start just talking about the path to getting hired and relocating to Europe as like a software engineer. And before I start, I really just want to say I want to apologize because a few people did reach out to me on LinkedIn before this webinar, and I did reply to some of you, but I couldn't reply to all of you because it was Cyber Week and all, and there was like a lot going on. But I will be sure to get back to you after this. So a little bit about me. So my name is Salis. Like Bruna has already mentioned, and I guess you've already read. I'm a front end engineer mainly, but I do have full stack tendencies. And what do I mean when I say I have full stack tendencies? Well, I have a level of interest in backend and DevOps, and I have played with lots of languages that are more common to the backend stack. So I have some experience with Python, PHP, um, and yeah, I've played with RabbitMQ and messaging queues and all of this. I've done some database work as well, and I've worked with DevOps tools such as Kubernetes and Jenkins. Yeah. So I love football. That's like my biggest sport. It's probably the only sport I try to play when I can, and I watch more of. And my favorite dish is Ghana jollof, and that's for all the Nigerians listening. I know there's probably the huge debate about Ghanaian jollof and Nigerian jollof. Um, I, I'm just telling everyone where I stand. So I previously worked at three other companies before I moved. I moved, all three of them were fintech companies. So the first one was Infortix in Accra, TechScanner in Accra, and ITC, IT Consortium, which is also another fintech based in Accra. And I have been a VanHacker since August 2017. I'm not very active right now. But I still do pop into the chat to see all the messages about who got hired, and sometimes I do add reactions, like the coffee part, which is my favorite reaction in a group. And I have been at Zalando since March 2018. Yeah. So I guess at this point, I can talk about when I actually decided to make the move. Okay, I see some questions in the chat already about some stuff, but I guess we can, Brunei, I guess it's okay to hold off until after this, till we get into that. Okay, so for anyone joining who is mainly from Africa, I guess you'll know like these pains. So the biggest problem which I had as a developer was the repetition, because most of the tangible problems, like in Ghana are like fintech, and most of that stuff is back end. And, then there's the whole digitalization effort where we're trying to move everything that's paper into like digital records right now. So all of this is mostly CRUD, updating and deleting data, nothing really fancy. And you see, it's like you keep solving the same kind of problem over and over again, and you're optimizing for the same variables. And like I said before, all three of my companies, previous companies, were involved in fintech, and so they just cared more about the fact that it worked. And for me, who was mainly focused on front end and user experience and things like this, it didn't really, it wasn't really as satisfying. And one of the other things were, so I'm speaking from the tech perspective here, like the small user bases, like really the percentage of the population, that is being targeted is not really the largest. And, you can't really draw any valid conclusions off of any kind of test you run on such a small sample size. And, most of the times your solution, it just has to work. You don't really think about changing things to see if you can increase some kind of metrics, you know. And this is changing. There are lots of new budding companies that are coming up that are challenging how software is being built in Africa. But I think right now, the best plan of action is to sharpen your skill set. And when the shift finally does happen, just make sure you have the right kind of skills to jump back on board and help build the ecosystem up. And another thing is the next point is the personas. Like the target groups really. Guys, let me know. Am I going too fast? Am I speaking too fast? Just a quick check-in. I feel like I'm going too fast. Okay. Vivek thinks I'm I'm going at the right pace. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess it's just me being paranoid. All right. Thanks, guys. Um, so yeah, the personas, because you're really always targeting the same kind of people. It's the same group, and it's the same person who ideally has like a smartphone and ideally has access to ideally has a smartphone, but not necessarily has access to the fastest speeds. And this is the persona you live on in every company, and it, it's the repetition in targeting the same group of people, and one of the biggest things. So the next thing was the tech community is it's very vibrant. I mean, I think you'll find lots of like budding developers from the continent, and lots of them are very enthusiastic. But the problem is when you're looking at the upper the upper bracket, the people with the most experience. I think it's a small set of people, and the problem is if you stay too long solving the same problems, the juniors or the budding engineers, I mean, at some point they'll probably have as much experience as you have, and if they decide to branch off or tackle more interesting topics, then how do you give them the knowledge when you don't have the experience yourself? And for me, this is like one of the biggest problems, because how do you give experience to someone or how do you share when you don't have first hand experience? And so for me, this was one of the things that was really on my mind, because there are lots and lots of junior and younger engineers in the scene who are trying new things, but they kind of don't have anyone to talk to in terms of guidance. There's no one they can consult, because um, the more experienced people, so I'm talking people who mainly just worked in the Ghanaian sphere for maybe 20 years, they haven't dealt with the kind of problems this new generation of developers is trying to solve. So I think one of the biggest boosts for me is just being able to build this knowledge and just be there for the people who reach out and need guidance uh, when they try to build such monumental or bleeding edge software. So yeah, so those for me were the deciding factors. And I guess the next question is, okay, so you want to move. Why did you choose Europe? And I mean, if you look at I don't know if the picture is clear enough, but if you see there, it's like a picture of like internet penetration, and I think it's very self-explanatory. So you see where Africa is on the map, and you see the color. It's greenish. I mean, there are some parts that are kind of blue. South Africa definitely more blue than most. And you see internet penetration is rising, but it's not really at the level, But and if you look at North America, for example, and you look all across Europe, like most of Europe, you see it's very blue, and there's a lot of internet penetration. So as a web developer, you want to be in a place where people actually, people will actually use what you build, and you're targeting a much wider audience. That's if you're really ambitious with what you're trying to build. And obviously, for them to have all this blue, they definitely have more advanced tech infrastructure. And they have a really multicultural society. I mean, there's so much diversity here, and there's so many different kinds of use patterns for the same application in like even a small area. And so when you're building, you really have to take into consideration all these diverse people and all the different use cases and ways people could potentially use your technology or your software. See, and for this reason, because there's so much blue and potentially anything you build is available maybe across almost the whole the whole EU, then if your solution doesn't work if it doesn't scale and you can't push it out to as many people as possible. And then there's all the governance and then the laws on technology. And for me, this is big because uh, back home, so in Africa, the legislation is they're just fleshing out the legislation for the internet and internet use and software and all this stuff. And it's good to be able to get the experience to work with building software under the guidance of legislation and know how to, maneuver this web of building software around legalities and how to handle the legal repercussions. And even to be maybe a contributor to how the legislations work out in the future in your home. So yeah, I think these are some of these are some of the really like good points for Europe as a destination as a developer. I mean, if you want to build at scale and if you want to see every kind of possible use case and you want to see like crazy metrics, like how your application, how your application is used at nighttime, morning time, and how like maybe even a photo app turns into something else. I think this is really the place to be. So let's say I convinced you. So okay, you're convinced. How do you get there? How do you get yourself in the position to relocate? And this is one of my favorite quotes. It's by Thomas Jefferson, and it's if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done, right? So you can never really get anywhere, or you can never really achieve new heights without challenging yourself to do more than you are currently doing or doing new things, right? So, I mean, for me, these are like the top four that I've listed. And the first thing, which is something I did myself, and I think it's really helped me out, and I've tried to stick to this. I've tried to join communities of like-minded people, and if you're here already, I guess you're a VanHacker, right? And that really is for me, one of the biggest benefits of VanHack is that it's not just like a place with a database of users, right? It's a real community, and you guys, should leverage this community. I mean, when I was preparing, I mean, I had a few people, and one of them was Israel. Um, his handle is Yo Israel. I don't know if he's still active, but we used to like send each other like lots of links and lots of practice tests and lots of things. Uh, and it was this leveraging this community, right? Just using these people who also want to achieve the same thing you do to kind of spur yourself on and keep pushing towards this goal. And so the next thing, logically, is that you should set goals and you should hold yourself to them, right? Because one of the one of the biggest things is having like a clear target, like having like deadlines, not like hard deadlines, but just knowing, okay, I want to do X and I want to do it by Y, right? And so these goals could be for language, right, and for algorithms and for best practices, because one of the biggest things is the language barrier, and I think setting good goals and good targets for improving your language level really helps you like move along and really improving your proficiency in language in general. uh, English in general is really like a big bonus. It's like a big plus. And then on the side, I mean, the algorithms and then the best practices, things that help you out in the technical interviews and in your implementations of all these coding solutions. You just maybe set a goal. Okay, I need to know everything about the sorting algorithms in maybe the next month. I need to know about backtracking in the next month. I need to, you just set these goals, you hold yourself to them, and you always look back and you're like, okay, I wanted to know everything about all the sorts, bubble selection, insertion, heap merge by the end of this month. And how many of them do I know? How many of them can I apply? And, you shouldn't be too hard on yourself. You shouldn't say, okay, I don't know all of them, so I failed. If you know maybe uh, three out of a number you set, then that's still progress. But just try your best to move forward in your preparation, and yeah, I think you will be fine. And the next thing is like practice, practice, and practice. So I think we all can agree that coding interviews are the worst. um, they suck. This is my opinion. I'm sure lots of you will share it, because most of the time there's a lot of stuff you really know and you really think you can contribute, but it's all down to like which question you get asked. And I think it's a terrible way. There's so much discussion on how to improve like the hiring process, right, for tech candidates. But until that holy grail procedure is discovered, I guess we just have to do that. We just have to practice. We just have to set time aside. If you're actively looking, then I guess when I was actively looking, I was maybe solving three problems every evening, and this is what you have to do. And sometimes you see the same problem and it just becomes kind of like second nature. Right? You get yourself into a mood because um, I think everyone will tell you looking for a job as a developer is like it's like a second job because there's so much work you have to put in. But if you put it in, I guarantee it will be worth it in the end. And the last thing, which is like it's just a super good bonus. Like if you have like a really good GitHub profile. So you have a good GitHub profile. with lots of projects that you've been working on, lots of stuff that really like displays your proficiency in all the things that you have on your CV. And sometimes maybe it's not all the things, but maybe it shows like that you're interested in certain topics and ideas. Like for me, one thing, and I have to relate this back to me. One of the things that really helped me in my interview was uh, the first person, my first technical interviewer, was really big on functional programming. And luckily for me, I had a project on my GitHub which was written in Elm, which is functional programming for front end. So he saw that and we struck up a discussion. And I mean, immediately I kind of won him over because he was interested in programming. I was interested in functional programming. We had that kind of discussion. Most of the technicalities, I think, just flew out of the window, and it was more like a chat. But you see, this is only because you can express this, and maybe he's seen it. You know, sometimes when you put it on your CV, people don't really look. It's just kind of like you've just put a bunch of stuff on paper for it to look good. But if you really have some substance to back it up, and nowadays, I mean, I think it's super easy to have like your own like personal landing page. I mean, if you use Firebase or even GitHub pages, you can have your own page, secure for free. You just deploy these for free, and I think you put some links to your VanHack profile, to your GitHub profile, your LinkedIn profile. You put them there. It's kind of like your own showcase, right? And it shows that you're kind of more serious. You're really serious about what you do and your craft. And this is basically what I think they want to see, that you're really interested in, you're really interested in technology. You explore, you know, because it's a huge risk, right? Moving someone out from one country to another to work for you. You need to know that they are motivated by a lot more than just having like a stamp on your passport or having a free pass to travel somewhere else. Um, so yeah, I think the last point, it really makes you look more genuine as a programmer and as a software professional. Yeah. So next, I guess these are just like bonus tips. Uh, do your homework, and by homework I mean don't just apply blindly. I mean, you should research the companies that you apply for. I mean, at least it, best thing of one of the good things about VanHack, they've done the research for you, but you should at least try to do some research yourself. I know for a fact that VanHack is working with some of the best companies and companies that have really high standards for how they treat their employees. So you wouldn't need to worry about that too much, but I think you should know more about the company, and you should at least keep track of the companies you applied to, because it can be easy just going on the site on the app, and just every job you see that matches your profile, apply, and you're applied to 50, and you don't know who the 50 are, and when they come knocking back, you're in a scramble. You know, you should at least keep track of why you're applying to these companies and which ones you apply to. The what about their job description really excited you the most? You know, and I think it's just good to do your homework on the companies and just know the actual points that you can bring up in maybe an HR pre-screening. You know, because it's a question that gets asked, right? Why do you want to join the company? You know, and you should be prepared for this. Probably keep an open mind. Keep an open mind in some locations. I know some people are really picky about the locations, but again, for me, I always look at the description. I look at the job. I look at the technology. I look at the stack. See, if you remember the map that we showed, like almost every part of the EU has really good internet access, has really good infrastructure, right? So it really doesn't matter where you end up. If you're serious about like working with bleeding edge technology and really really working on stuff that can impact lots of people, I think you really can't go wrong. You should be more worried about the stack than the location. That's not to say that you shouldn't consider location at all. I mean, if some places are off limits for you for some reason, then that's fine. But I really think you should look more at the job description and the technology involved than where the job is. And one of the next things, honesty is the best policy. Yeah, just always be prepared for your interviews. But if you feel that there's something you can't fully explain, just say exactly what you know. Don't say anything more. Don't embellish. Don't feel the need to like add in words to try and bamboozle. Just be like honest. Um, if you have prepared for your interview, then I think you should be answering 90% of the questions, and the 10%, uh, I mean, if you just tell them you don't know, I mean, I guess there's no harm, right? And get agile. So you should probably know about Scrum and the Agile Manifesto for software and all this stuff. You should know how Scrum works. It's one of the most sought after skills, knowing about Scrum and how to work in sprints and cycles. And then the last thing is just to trust the process. I mean, it's a numbers game. It's like marketing. You will apply to lots of companies. You will not hear back from all of them. You will get rejections. It's not your fault. Just work hard, keep applying, follow the first four principles, the first four tips, and you at the end you'll find a job that you can really relate to and that you really will enjoy doing. Yeah. So I guess that's all I have. But one secret is, if you've really been following everything that happens in VanHack and you've been joining all the sessions, then I guess you'll be seeing by now that half of what I've said, or maybe all of what I've said, has already been said, because I probably took most of, yeah, because I think they give you most of this advice, really. But yeah, this is just me hammering on it and saying, hey, this works, and just trust the process and you'll do great. All right. So this is the end of my ball session, my ball fest, and my ramblings. Bruna, I think you have something to share.
Sure, sure. So thank you very much, Salud. That was very inspiring, and I'm sure that we're gonna have a lot of questions to talk about by the end of our section. And so I would like to talk to you a little bit about VanHack and how to be prepared for the interviews, right? So when you guys apply to our jobs, what happens on our side, right? So that would be something that can help you, and of course get you prepared for what's coming after you apply to the positions that we have. So VanHack, we are mainly a platform, right? So we connect companies and talent located all across the planet. Right. So what we do is we get these clients and we get the candidates and we place the right one to the right position, and we make everybody happy at the end. That's our main goal. Okay. So at VanHack, we offer end-to-end support. That means relocation, since the start of the process with the selection, interview preparation, visa, relocation. We have an in-house team that help you to get your dream job, and of course throughout the process of leaving your hometown and relocating to a new whole country. Okay, so the idea is for us to be your support during the process, and of course having your questions clarified, having your if you guys need any kind of assistance during negotiation, if you have any questions, we are here to do that and, of course, help you throughout this process. And the most important thing for VanHack is that all of the companies hiring through us, they are ready to sponsor the visa. Okay, so that means that they will provide the proper paperwork for you to relocate. So and then you can leave your home country to relocate and to another country totally legally and entitled to work. Okay, so all the companies, they do that. That we are responsible for this, handling this paperwork to make sure that everybody makes the right decision and has a great opportunity and a great time when relocating. Okay, so this is very important for you guys to, for everybody to know about our services. Okay, so then what about your profile? So when you create a profile on VanHack and apply for jobs, what happens from our side as a recruiter, as a talent manager? What is important for me, and how do I get to select you to have an interview with a client from VanHack? Okay, so the most important thing is our system works with an international artificial intelligence system that matches the candidates' profiles to the positions that we post based on keywords. Okay, so we post keywords. Every position that you guys see, they have the keywords on the bottom, and that's what our system does. We do use artificial intelligence to make matches. So here, there's just an example of a position that we have. So we have people with 72%, 60. So that's based on keywords in your profile, how complete your profile is. That reflects everything on the match system. Okay, so this so what can we do to get our match system working, and of course green, that's what we call. So we do ask everybody to take the English verification test and do the Rocker Rank test available on your profile. Okay, so that will for sure increase your numbers. Most important, as Sally said, keep your profile updated. So everything that you can add to your profile is a plus. Okay, LinkedIn, GitHub, CV, and of course I'll share some examples with you at the end. But it's very important to keep everything updated, and that will of course increase your numbers and your chances. Okay. Also, uh, besides us, VanHack, our clients, they have access to the platform. So every time that we share a profile with the company, they will see your VanHack profile, and they can, if you have an awesome profile, they can notify us to make sure that we get in touch with you to get an interview. So this is very important for VanHack, for you, and for the companies, because the companies have access to your profile. Okay, so please make sure everything's completed, everything is done, and of course you have way more chances to get a call from us, a call from a company, and of course an offer at the end of the process. Okay, so let me just show you an example of a complete profile. Okay, so that's the profile of the dreams, that's the profile that all recruiter dream to see at VanHack. Okay, so this is just an example of somebody that created a profile with us. The candidate, he was able to insert salary expectations so we can have an idea. The candidate took the English verification test, so we know that the candidate can speak English as an advanced level. The candidate took the hacker rank assessment, so we see 100% in React, 100% in OJS. That's very good because companies see that, and that will make companies more interested in interviewing somebody that already done a code assessment before. Okay. Time of experience, that's very important. Please make sure that this time is accurate. Okay. So everybody will increase the chances. And a little summary just to introduce yourself. So, like a senior developer, time of experience, if you have a bachelor degree, the technology that you work nowadays. So that way we can take a look at the profile, understand who you are, and by that we can see if this person has a match with the job that we are looking for. Okay. More examples. So just make sure that you have your experience completed and the job description there. The skills, they have to match with your experience. So just choose the skills that are a match with your experience, because that will, of course, make the matching system up and down. Okay, that super controls that. So please make sure that everything is completed. Educational background, very important to have that as well. Okay, so make sure that you have the course, the year that you started, the year that you finished it. If you have it, it's a great thing to see. Also, as Sally said, just put all the social media possible, because that's very interesting for us and for companies. So just make sure that you have your updated resume, your LinkedIn, your GitHub website uh, there, so everybody can access me, my team, and companies. Okay, and that's very important. Your destinations, the target locations, where would you like to go? Okay, so please be honest on that. If you are willing to go to Canada, if you're willing to go to Europe, just list the countries. And of course, that will help everybody to make sure that you are willing to go somewhere, and we can approach with you with a position for the preferred location that you would like to go. Okay. If you guys have questions, please send on the chat. Okay. We can talk about that later. Okay, so regard Europe. Okay, so now at the moment we have positions for four countries. So Germany, United Kingdom, Spain, and Ireland. So I will show you a little bit about the positions, and we can talk about the main skills that are being required for Europe nowadays. So this is a post for a company in Germany. So you can see a little what they are expecting. So they are looking for a backend developer. What they are expecting is 5 years of experience, skills Node or Java, AWS, SQL and NoSQL databases, Docker and Kubernetes. So this is a standard backend developer position for Germany. This is the link, so you guys can take a look later. Salary, some companies, they display the salary, so this is one example for you. Okay. This is another position that we have for Germany. This is a DevOps. So this company is looking for Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker, and the AWS as main skills. You can check the description on the website on VanHack platform as well. Okay. And we have more positions for Germany. So Germany is the country outside Canada. Germany is the country that we have most positions for in Europe. Okay, so this is another. These are other positions in Germany. It's for cloud infrastructure engineer, Python developers. Welcome in Germany. More Java and JavaScript. Okay, so this is a little bit of Germany for you. So now we're moving to United Kingdom. So we have a .NET developer position for the UK. So 4 years of experience with .NET, JavaScript and Angular on the front end, AWS or any kind of cloud platform, fluent English, and some companies, they require the candidates to have the hacker rank taken. So it is important for you to take, because the companies can check that. Okay. So please make sure that you take this record rank and English verification, because some companies, they're only willing to talk to candidates that have the English verified. So this is another position for United Kingdom. So it's a solution engineer for reading. They are looking for somebody with 2+ years of experience in or either Node.js or JavaScript and or mobile development with iOS and Android, and a client-facing role previous experience. Okay, so this is another position that we have for the UK. We have positions at Spain as well. In Spain, Java developers and a software tester that would handle automated testing, must have Selenium, Java, and Python as scripting skills. In Ireland, okay? So Ireland has positions with us as well, with Java and a DevOps engineer for process automation, infra as a code, and CI/CD. So those are the main skills that we have for Europe right now. And these are the links. And of course, you guys can check the positions on VanHack platform anytime you want. Okay? So now, before we do I would like to talk to Salis about some questions that we received on the chat. If you were ready.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so Salis, questions about sent by the audience. Okay, so were you
Okay.
in Germany? Where were you when you got hired?
So I was in Ghana when I got hired.
So
Yep.
all the process was virtual.
Yes, for the whole interview process was done via video calls and emails. So I was totally remote for the whole interview process. Yep, and I
Okay,
was in Ghana. Yep.
okay. And how many steps did you take? Did your selection process had?
I guess there were about four steps. So there's the initial code test, which is the preliminary screening. I guess every company has it. Um, this is separate from the VanHack code test. So you take
Mm-hmm.
that one, you get verified, then you do the company's code test. Then after that, if you pass the coding test, then you have a preliminary HR screen test where they ask you all of these questions to determine your cultural fit and how you are as a person. You know, your mindset. You know, then if you pass that interview, right, then there's like a technical interview. So this is very Zalando specific, and you have three different interviews, back to back. You have the first one where you review your answers to your preliminary screening test. So the coding test you did in the beginning, you will have to review it with someone, and you have to talk them through your solution and why you chose to do it in this way and as opposed to another way, and if there's any way you can improve it. So that's like one part of the interview. Then there's a second interview, which is more about software architecture and system design. And there's a third and final one, which is more about general questions, general programming questions. It's more like textbook stuff, you know, like questions about um, REST and all these buzzwords. Yeah. Then if you make it through that interview, then there's the final um, discussion with another HR representative, and they talk about they just have like a feel of what your expectations are, and if everything is aligned after that, um, they they send you an offer. So for me, that's how it happened. And after the offer is sent, you can you can yourself schedule follow-up meetings, maybe to have clarifications on the terms of the offer, or if you want to negotiate, you can have a separate session. But at this point, it's pretty much guaranteed. Well, not really. If you negotiate wrongly, probably you could blow it out of the water. But I think you'd have to be asked for a really outrageous amount to destroy your chances after that point. But yeah, it's 4 steps. Then after that, as many more like interviews or meetings as you want before you finally accept the offer.
Okay, okay. And after you received the offer, okay, so what did
Yeah.
you consider as a plus when you thought about, okay, so I received this offer from a company located in Berlin. What motivated you to go for it?
Okay. So, well, I mean, so this is more about the point doing your research, but I think I talked about the tech aspect. So, like culturally, I mean, culture-wise, I mean, Germany and specifically Berlin is a very like diverse place, right? And you get to meet people of so many different cultures, and you actually get to try so many things from so many different cultures without having to move like or go to all these different countries, all these different places. And there's also like lots of English speakers in Berlin in particular. So for me, this was one of the big helpers because I know a couple of Ghanaian languages and I know English. So if I had to come in and have to kind of settle into a new environment without English, it would be really difficult. So for me, this was one of the top considerations for the offer itself. Uh, I think speaking on the monetary terms, there were so many the tools, Glassdoor and Numbeo, where like you can check cost of living and you can check average salaries. Um, at this point, I think if you've gotten this far in the interview process, you'll have your VanHack rep. So you can also discuss the offer with your VanHack rep. For me, I was very lucky. I had Ilya directly. So I actually was able to discuss with Ilya the offer. So I think, yeah, these are all the things I considered. And I mean, having the rep also to discuss the offer with and discuss the city and the company itself, it's always like a really good boost. So for me, I was like, for me, the English speaking was a really good, and the English speaking was the biggest bonus for me because moving to a different country with a different language, it's really hard. I'm not going to act like it's not. It's really hard. So if there are pockets in the community where you can speak in a language that you already know and get around, for me, that's a big plus.
Okay, okay. And how was your adaptation like? So when you arrived in Germany, so how was your first week?
Oh, my first week. Okay, so major tip. If you plan on moving in February, bring the thickest jacket you can you can find. Um, yeah, because it was really cold. I was not prepared the for the temperatures. Yeah, that was one of that was the like the major thing for me, And then going on progressively, it was kind of how the society functions, how people communicate and how things are said. Um, the topics of conversation are vastly different, right? So yeah, you should keep an open mind. You should really keep an open mind. They're very different metrics of happiness and how the individual like kind of like interacts and fits in society in general. And the best you can do or what you should try to do is just treat everyone, not listen to or believe most of the stuff or everything that you've heard, and just try to treat people on an individual basis, right? Really try to interact with people on an individual level rather than making like bulk assumptions. Yeah. But for me, the first week summary, really cold, bring a jacket, bring gloves, bring a heater.
It can get very cold in the winter, yeah, but in the summer,
Yeah,
I believe it's very pleasant, right?
yes. I mean, yeah, the summers are amazing, and sometimes you wonder how it can go from such good weather to such bad weather. You know, like it's really night and day. But yeah, I could talk forever about it, or you guys could just apply to Europe and just come experience it yourselves. See?
And so, which I have another question from the audience. So, which front end experience did you have? So, we understand that you had some previous experiences in Ghana, but with what? What is your main skill?
So my main skill is JavaScript and front end. So I had experience with CSS, JavaScript, HTML. I was mainly front end, like I was saying, but I also had, yeah, that was my main skill, which I was pushing, and this was what I was looking to get hired for because that was where I was most comfortable. And I'd worked with Angular 1 and I'd done some work with React. Like I was saying, I'd also played with Elm, which was functional programming at the time. So these are all front end stack. And I had actually built applications with all three of these. So that was the scope of my experience, and it was about, yeah, 3 4 years before before VanHack.
Okay.
So just if you're trying to gauge how much experience, ideally, if you've built stuff, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 1 year or 2 years of experience, right? If you can prove your competence. And this is what you should be trying to do, right? You should be trying to prove your competence past your experience. Because some people, they have, I'm sorry, but some people have 10, 20 years of experience, but their competence level is not really so, it's not really so great. If you've been doing the same thing for 20 years, I don't think you're as, and I think this is the general perception, you're not as useful or as interesting as someone who's been doing different things for 5 or say 6 years. So it's really have like a solid base, have something which is what you push yourself as, but really try to, dip your hands into different jars, you know, because all these different other skills, they really help you out.
Okay, very good. And the last question, also from the audience. So, do you think age is an issue when candidates apply for Europe? Do you think there's an age barrier?
I mean, only if it matters to you as a person, but I don't think the companies really they're too bothered about age. Like I said, it's a very practical. The processes are very practical. It's uh, if you've read and you've seen like all the videos and uh, articles, there's a shortage of good tech talent. So companies don't really mind if they find someone with the right fit, with the right skills, and they're like 85 years old. Okay, maybe 85 is too much, but, but you get what I'm saying? Like it's not really about your age. It's really about how well you can present yourself and showing that you uh, have the right skill set and the right attitude and the right mindset. These are the only things. If you are a 50-year-old with a growth mindset, you are much more valuable than a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old who has a fixed mindset and is not willing to budge or learn or try new things.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for the clarifications. I'm sure that everybody's very inspired and we were able to learn a lot from you and your experience. So thank you very much. So
Uh,
now,
Thank you for having
uh,
me.
of course, it's our pleasure, Salis. Great to have to be part of your story, and to be part of your life now.
Yeah, once a Van Hacker, you know?
Always a VanHacker.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to finish our session today to speaking about the Black Friday week. So today is the last day of our extended Black Friday week. Okay, so you can guarantee the sales price until midnight of today in Vancouver. So you have a little bit of time until the sale finishes. So this is the chance to have the premium service with awesome price. And Evan Hack, we solidly believe that preparation and training are key steps in order to succeed and have an offer at the end of your selection process. Plus, 2020 is almost here, and we have a full year, a new whole year full of new positions online for virtual process and also events. We're gonna have a leap and mission in Colombia. So the idea is to have our team ready to help you with your profile, resume, interview practicing, classes for English. This is a great opportunity to have you started, so don't miss it, okay? Until midnight today in Vancouver, you are able to get the Black Friday week price. So for 2019, we had almost 100 premium members hired. So we had the opportunity to help their change their lives and their family lives, and with premium service to support the process. Okay, so please don't miss the opportunity. That's great. That's a great opportunity for everybody. Okay, so that's it for today. I guess that everybody had a great time. So thank you very much, Salis, for being here. Thank you very much to
Thank you for
everybody who
having
could
me.
be here with us and listening to our last webinar of 2019. And I'll see you everybody on Slack, LinkedIn. You know how to find us. Have a great day or evening or morning, whatever you are. And let's VanHack. Let's rock it. Bye.
Ciao.